I want to first express my appreciation for Abraham, and also I thank Jerry and Esther, because you're the ones that spend your whole life out here traveling to see us. All we have to do is get up in the morning and drive a few miles and we're here. Right now before Congress, there's a bill to create a Department of Peace. It'd be on the same level of all the other departments, defense and state and all that.
It's a novel idea.
Yes, and I just wondered, is to give an alternative to, just deciding that we need to go to war or something, is there some alternative ways to look at this? I just wondered if you have any thoughts about it and you think there's a chance of this ever being passed.
Well, one nice thing about the way this physical time-space reality evolves is that in every day, new ones are born who are in vibrational alignment with Source, and old ones who aren't croak. So the dilution ratio keeps improving, and so there is a chance. So here you are, a citizen of your nation, and you're watching what's going on, and you're having your visceral response to what you see. But in the midst of all of that, you are launching your rockets of desire of what you want. Now, think of billions of people around the world who are witnessing war and desiring peace. So whether you ever put words to it or not, you're setting forth desires. You want improved life. You want children to awaken in cities where they can be joyful and play. There are endless desires that are shooting out of not only those who are in the war zones who are worried about the bombs dropping on them, but those like you who are in relatively safe beds on the other side of the world who are desiring it. And so lots more than ever before of desire is shooting from individual creators wanting that. So all of these beings, and it is a rare one of you who is not wanting improved life for all, not just yourself. In other words, you want well-being. And so as you launch these rockets of desires, and all of your inner beings, all of that which is Source is saying, yes, done, yes, done, yes, done, yes, done, yes, done. Can you feel the probable reality of a joyful, peaceful, co-creative environment? In other words, we've never seen more people more pointedly desiring something ever, 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 ever. But we have also never seen more people personally in vibrational opposition to what they've launched. You are, as a people on this planet, desiring peace more than we have ever seen in all of the history of human on earth. And you are, as a mass consciousness, more contradicted to the peace you're asking for than we have ever seen as a people on planet Earth, you see. And so, if you think that that's going to change because you're going to get some bill passed in Congress, that's why we're looking forward to them croaking. And because if today you had the power to just take all of those people out of government and then replace them to a person with students who have studied politics and who know the procedures, who know the rule of law, and just put those fresh, young, optimistic people in those places worldwide, party on, dude. In other words, your economic problems would be resolved immediately because their clear-minded thoughts would discover them. Your energy ruse would go away. Your perception of lack of resources would evaporate as the truth of your resources comes out into the light. But if you have to wait for that to happen before you feel better, then welcome to those that we wish to croak. You've got to get to the place where you're closing the gap on your desire for peace is not dependent upon something that somebody else does. And when you close the gap and begin to feel joy, and another closes the gap and begins to feel joy, then when more of you are sending a singular signal, then your world will have to evolve in keeping with that singular signal. And we see things happening now that indicate that you're moving in that direction.
I have to remember, because when I sit here I get kind of confused and anxious, so I wanted to discuss hypnosis. And hypnosis, from my experience in it as a practitioner or whatever, is that when in hypnosis it's whatever we focus on expands. So it seems like after a lot of training in hypnosis, I started to think everybody's already hypnotized. They're in a trance, so we need to come out of the trance that we're already in.
First, we want to say to you that we agree. We've heard Jerry comment on more than one occasion what you said about people are all hypnotized, and it is dehypnotization that is necessary for them to let go of some of that, which is essentially what you just said with your last statement. You give your attention to something, and by your attention to it, you activate it in your vibration, and then law of attraction brings you more of it. So it isn't an unreasonable person who comes to believe as they believe, because someone believed it and talked to them about it, and they talked about it, and then it manifested around them and gave them the evidence or proof that they needed. People are talking about truth all over the place, and what we want to say is you create your truth, because whatever it is you give your attention to, if you give your attention to it long enough, you will activate it in your vibration enough that it will manifest in your experience. And so people are trying to sort this out from a lot of different vantage points, and as we said, almost shouting toward you all this morning, we want you to realize that until you understand that you are vibrational beings and you understand the vibrational characteristics of your thoughts and you're able to acknowledge the difference in them by the way they feel, then you're sort of just throwing out thoughts all over the place. Law of attraction is responding to them, and the incredible explanations that man has come up with in order to try to explain life or humanity, it is very interesting. When you get to the heart of vibration and you pay attention to your own guidance system, then all the mysteries go away. When you get to the heart of vibration and you are aware of the moods and attitudes of others, all the mystery of what's happening in their lives goes away. What you're thinking and what you're feeling and what manifests is always a vibrational match. We just want you to be aware pre-manifestation rather than post-manifestation. Now, in terms of hypnosis, we agree, we think everyone to a certain degree is hypnotized in the sense that you develop vibrational habits. And the whole point of this Art of Allowing workshop is to help you to understand that you've got vibrational habits, many of which are serving you very well, many of which are not serving you well. Since you want to do well and you want to be well and you want to feel good, anytime you are feeling what you would call that joyful, loving, good feeling emotion, that means you are a perfect vibrational match to who you are. And anything less than that means to that degree you are vibrationally holding yourself apart from the fullness of who you really are. So we like to call that fully allowing that connection with love, allowing or alignment, and the degree to which you resist it, resistance or disallowing. And when you put everything into that context, then everything starts to make sense to you. A thought that you keep thinking becomes an easier to think thought, because the more you think it, the more your proclivity to think it is there. And the reason for that is when you activate a thought, law of attraction joins it and brings other thoughts that are similar to it to you. So momentum of thought is because of law of attraction. And that momentum of thought is that self-hypnosis, so to speak, which we don't think is a bad thing. In other words, if you were a little one born into a loving home where people felt good about each other and they felt independent and everyone felt strong and clear, and you observed that and developed those patterns, you would do very well in your world. If you were born to a grandmother who said, if you will just look for things to appreciate, your life will go well, and you watched her do it and you saw her life go well, so you mimicked her, you would develop patterns of thought in your process of self-hypnosis that would serve you enormously well. You would never have to hear a word about the art of allowing or about vibrational relationships or about guidance system. If you just wanted to feel good like you all do when you were born and gravitated toward what did feel the best to you, your guidance system would work for you magnificently. But what has happened is the more you have interacted with one another and the more the structures that are outside of you have convinced you that you don't have guidance and that you can't trust your own decisions and that you must follow their paths, then your tenacious looking at something outside of you also causes you to develop vibrational patterns, many of which do not serve you. Let's say that you are a student in a classroom, and your mother, who has always been proud of you, says to you, "I'm so proud of you. Have a good time, but mind your teacher." And your teacher, who wasn't born to your grandmother and doesn't know about appreciation, who really wants you to do well and has this list of requirements that she has been charged with drawing from you, and she believes that an iron fist rules and that you are naturally weak and that she will make you strong, and that if left to your own devices and your own guidance, you'll be lazy and won't amount to anything. But if she gets hold of you, who she thinks has potential, and wrestles you to the ground and kills all of your independent nature, which might cause you to freely follow your own thought, and instead she lays out a curriculum for you and she is determined to make you follow it, you would experience a strong loss of connection to who you are at first. But as you look at others putting up with it, and as you derive some benefit from the appreciation that she gives you when you do mind her, she might very well teach you that even though you have set your guidance aside, because your guidance said cut and run, your guidance says I'm in the wrong place, your guidance says I'd like to tune this one out, your guidance says I'm worthy, she says I'm not. Your guidance says I'm good, she says you're bad. Your guidance says I'm of value, she says you're a ne'er-do-well. In other words, so you're crossways of your guidance, and so as you are socialized in your environment, remembering what your mother said about mind your teacher, you could very well be someone who then sets your own guidance aside while you listen to someone else. And as you do that, at first it's harsh and uncomfortable, but in time that discomfort begins to feel more normal as your set point on your emotional scale moves into another place. That is the strongest form of hypnosis. Your society hypnotizes you. And here's what we mean by this. When you want someone else's response to you to be a certain way, and so you contour your life in order to get that response from them, now you've set aside the only thing that is consistent within you, which is your vibrational relativity between where you are and where you want to be, and now you have no way of knowing where you are. And then that one behaves that way toward you, that one behaves that way toward you, until by the time that you interact with people in their adulthood, or we do, most people are in a real vibrational scramble where they are full of beliefs about themselves that serve them and beliefs about themselves that don't serve them. And that's the whole point of the art of allowing. You almost have to start at the beginning of anything that's important to you and discover a way to move yourself into a better feeling place. And just because we say to you, you have to find a way to leave everybody else out of the equation, doesn't mean that any of you can really do that, because you've patterned yourselves into caring what they think. When you stand before someone and they hold you as their object of attention, and they're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, so they're connected to source energy, and they are appreciating you, and so they are flooding pure positive energy all over you, that feels really good to you. But then you would be misunderstanding if you thought that they were the vortex through which that pure positive energy flows, the only avenue. And what happens to so many people, it starts when they're little ones, with their parents and with their grandparents and with their teachers, and later on even with their peers. When people care more about someone else's response to them than they do about their own vibrational relativity between how source feels about them and how they are allowing themselves to feel about themselves right now, then they have no quantifiable way of knowing whether they are moving in an improved direction or a not improved direction. So we'd like to say to you in very clear terms that anyone who cares mostly about how they feel could never be hypnotized into believing that they are less than wonderful.